they're changing my voice. So I want people from all groups, perhaps especially conservatives, to really pay attention to this video. A lot of times people think that arguments in regards to compensation, magically don't have any basis in reality, or they're irrational or something like this. They're actually very logical here. We have a situation where people are using technology to kill people, and to kill people with plausible deniability, something to that effect, because it's not quite plausible. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that this is going on. But one way or another, people are turning a blind eye, they're playing stupid, they're gaslighting people, they're lying in various ways. So in this case, this lady from Moreno Valley was murdered. She was killed by people who must be cold-blooded killers. They killed this woman for no good reason. And her family deserves compensation. She deserved better than that. And it's a very, very heartbreaking story. And it affected me a whole lot. Just like the Marissa Di Napoli case, just like the Esparto fireworks factory, and so many other cases that really hit home. Uvalde really, really affected me. Sometimes I say things people don't want to hear. The truth hurts, and sometimes maybe I make minor mistakes here in some ways, but to people they might seem like major mistakes and major flaws, what have you. So basically, a tire flew off a pickup truck and killed that woman while she was minding her own business, wasn't bothering anybody. And they want you to think it's an accident, but it's not an accident. The odds it is an accident are so small that it must not be an accident. And the fact that the government has been murdering people. So again, they change the sound of my voice. They fume me and poison me to change the state of my brain. And I don't want people to think that because of the way I sound or the speech patterns that I don't think it's serious, or that I'm not a sincere person. I'm the most sincere person, and they're trying to confuse you about that. They should not have killed Ingrid Zapata. And she was from Moreno Valley, and what I was told is that the word Moreno means brown or something like this. Also, the person in her case, these people have a very sick sense of humor, right? Buttigieg, right? His name has the word butt in it, and there was Wiener and Boner. So there's a lot of these people are LGBT people, a lot of them are white supremacists, Jewish supremacists, and rich ones. Not some guy from some poor area, but rich guys. Maybe their family members are from some poor area. They have some connection with these guys, but they're rich oppressors, corporate oppressors, social club types. And they've murdered a lot of people, They've killed, whether about all your family. Like, I don't know who my 6 cousins are, 5th, 4th. At some point, I don't know who all are in my family. So they've killed our friends and our family members with their stupid, sick game. And quite often they cite your sexual orientation, or they cite their race and your race, and they try to justify it that way. There's no justification for what they're doing. It's not good for the LGBT community. It's not good for any racial community. It's not good for any country, any group at all, or any individual. So let me just really briefly, I've been wanting to have a quick moment of silence, but it's not the same thing because they're filming me and poisoning me. But I'm going to go ahead and attempt a moment of silence anyway, because these are the times we live in, and this is how we've got to do it these days where I'm being fumed all the time. So let's have a moment of silence for Ingrid Zapata. Okay, so the memory is running low on my phone, and regardless of how sincere you think I am or not, that actually cost me to some degree because it limits how much I can say, right? And I took the time to make this video, so I care about it more than you might think. However, I'm going to put God first, and I'm willing to sacrifice everyone on this planet. And I can't stress enough that they're not killing these people because of me. They're killing these people because they're sick people whose religion it is to kill people. They are Satanists. Satan doesn't turn into, a caring fairy when Jesus is crucified. Look at the history of the world. Do you believe that Christ was crucified all those years ago? Okay. Has the world become a better place since then? No. The world has become a worse place. And so it is when my flesh dies. The world will become a worse place. They'll be killing people with stupid occult, ideologies coming into play. Okay. So again, this female who was one of the reporters, her name was Nicole Comestock. That's alluding to the pecking order, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not. They are trying to say that, hey, because of the concept of the pecking order, for what they believe is their pecking order, and God's divine order, right? The order of reverence, that they're killing these people. But they're not killing these people because you aren't doing what they're saying. They're killing these people because you are. I can't stress that enough. Think about the devil in popular culture. He's depicted that way for a reason. You make a deal with the devil, you regret it, all hell breaks loose. That's who they believe they are. That's the spirit they believe they're in. If you come into the spirit of the God and you resist the devil like the Bible says, the devil flees. The churches are satanic centers first and foremost, but to some degree, they think of themselves as neutral or something. They're trying to uphold white supremacy, while at the same time, they're not quite trying to do that. And it's confusing, but the best way I found to help you understand that is when you look up Zeus. Zeus and his alter ego. He thinks of himself as Hades. Now, who is Zeus? Who is Hades? Who's Poseidon? Well, Hades is in the underworld. It's like the shade, right? The shadow of a tree, the darkness of a sewer where there's no lights, right? The underworld, darkness. Zeus is a deity of lightning and storms, right? The darkness and the storms, okay? And Poseidon is a deity of storms as well, tsunamis, earthquakes, right? The ocean, sailors. And when they combine together, they make Set. They are three forms of Set. They are the same being. And so is Cronus. Cronus, who's Zeus's father, right? Saturn, Cronus, he is Zeus. They're different components of Set, who is the deity of evil. Okay? A deity of storms. He has different forms, right? And I go over these forms all the time, but real quickly here. The deer, the aardvark, the donkey, the jackal, the boar, the hippo, the snake, okay, the fox, what have you. The dog. He's often seen as a black dog, like Anubis, who's also depicted as a jackal, more often than not. I don't think he's ever been depicted as something other than a jackal, but I could be mistaken there. So, why did Ingrid Zapata die? Well, she was killed. Why? Because these people worship the devil, and they're flipping out and they're acting up because you're not obeying God through me. Now, they're not going to tell you that because the devil lies. They're not going to tell you that because the devil is addicted to causing people to harm. He's addicted to harming people. I'd compare their mentality to a serial killer from Chicago who wrote a note to the police or left some kind of message for him, and he said that, he wanted them to catch him. He said, why haven't you caught him already? Okay? He said he can't help himself, and he's mad that they haven't caught him already, but he can't help himself, and he doesn't want to turn himself in. That's the situation. They don't want to stop themselves. They want you to rally to me and to stop them, and them to have a moment where they're like, in awe, and just, and if you don't believe that, think about a Catholic school's teacher. Does she want to go straight to hitting you with a ruler? In popular culture, an angry Catholic school teacher who's a female, none. No, she wants you to do the right thing and to surprise her. But she's used to you doing the wrong thing, so she keeps punishing her students. And it seems like that's what she wants to do, to punish you. But no, on some level, she wants you to actually obey God and to surprise her so she can start changing into a more pleasant being. However, if this story continues on its trajectory and people don't rally and obey God through me, or someone pretends to be me, okay, they're going to be evil in the future. Right now, what's being determined is how harshly people are treated after my flesh dies. It's one of the main things. How much people are burning in hell, how much the people on this earth are going to live under the rule of people who have technologies to hack their brains, how much they're abused, how many people are killed with, occult spell games, magic spell games, spelling. That's what's being determined here. Now, I'm just going to end it here because I don't want you to miss the kind of core points in this video that I've made so far. But you need to understand that. They've murdered many people with technology. They have symbols that symbolize their attempts to control life and death. It's part of why they're trying to hack my brain, because they're trying to control me, but they know that it's a futile effort. But they're crazy. Look up Dionysus, a deity of ritual madness, religious ecstasy, the harvest, grapes, wine, a religious frenzy, a chthonic deity, a dark deity is what chthonic means, a dark and evil deity of ritual madness. And he's considered young Zeus, and Zeus is the main god of Western culture, no matter how you slice it. When you put Western culture in its sum total form, even if you're foolish enough to think that Zeus isn't the god of the churches, okay, what do you get? You get that Zeus is at the center, raped by deception, confusion, shallowness, unfairness, injustice under the guise of justice. Trying to put their governing class before what's right to the best of their ability. That is the center of Western culture. That dominates Western culture. That is Western culture. You see it in the jocks and the rockers. Rock and roll, and they say they built this city on rock and roll. Rock and roll refers to the state someone is in when they receive the spirit of the devil. They're said to rock back and forth like someone who says they're possessed or something. Someone who's trying to go into the spirit of being possessed by an idea. And they say they rock and roll. Look it up. You see it again in the scholars. They think they're so smart, but they're just some kind of shallow idiot, some kind of bookworm. And the worm is the archaic word for the snake. The ancient serpent, the devil. That Zeus changes forms. What is his main form? The snake. Just like Eros' main form is the snake. That's why in the story of Eros, whose counterpart is Cupid, okay, the oracle said that he's really a snake, because they're really from the snake family. One of his Set's forms is the snake. And Apep, a deity of chaos, is the snake. In fact, the word genius is from the idea of the deity genius, who is depicted as a snake and is said to be the essence or the spirit of a statue and of a people, and of people who come up with brilliant ideas and so on and so forth, which goes back to the Hollywood channeling. They're channeling the serpent spirit called the genius, which is connected to the word genie. The genie in a bottle, the snake in a pot. So as you look at this thing, you see that must be the spirit of the culture, the dominant principle, the prevailing tendency, the essence, the ambiance, the atmosphere, the aura, etc.